Hello, everybody. I am super duper excited because one, this is my first Facebook Live.
Is it really your very first?
It's my second, actually. I did one so long ago that this should be my first.
Yeah,
and
it's like starting all over again.
Yeah, it is. And I'm super excited because you're on it with me, which is awesome.
Yeah, here we are.
Yes.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
So, for those who don't know, Amanda and I met months ago before I even had a vision for Faith-Fueled Mom, Faith-Fueled Life. I was just doing my fitness thing. I had no idea what was going to come to be. So honored. I was really honored. Hey, Shani, how are you, love?
Shani.
I was honored that she interviewed me. And this diva over here is a faithful, fit woman with many, many credentials and highly expertise. And I'm going to let everybody know who you are and what you're about. And for those who don't, this is Amanda Wright, guys.
All right. Yeah, thanks, girl. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Wright. I am the founder of my faith and fit business, women's coaching business called A.Wright Fit. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist through the NSCA, and I'm a certified nutritionist. But really, I grow my passion. My business is all about helping women grow stronger in her body and wiser in mindset, all by living more surrendered to Jesus. So I'm all about the body, mind, and spirit. I know it's all interconnected. You can't get fit on the outside without being fit on the inside. So I finally took a leap of faith
and
after
it's not even worth it.
It's not even worth it, right? That's exactly what I learned. I was faith-based growing up, grew up in the church. I wouldn't say I had a tremendous relationship with God, but I had been introduced to it very young. But with my health, I was one of those girls that struggled with my body image. And I really always took my health into my own hands and really thought it was all on me and my responsibility, and had this pressure of looking the part, or really defined my worth by my body and thought that it was always what mattered the most. Is what I thought about all the time. It was very concerning for me, which I think a lot of women relate to that story. So a few years ago, I decided to start A.Wright Fit as a faith-based company after having one of those, what they call come to Jesus moments. I decided to do a bikini competition where I really took things to, the nth degree. And a lot of people do those, and I don't think those are wrong at all. But I know that my motivation for doing it was, once again, to play the part, to look the part, to finally get my body into this tip-top shape so I could feel confident. I thought once I had the perfect body, I would magically be confident and all my insecurities would go away. And there's a moment where God was like, no, you don't have to do this. You really don't have to do this. I feel he was calling me to this platform of health. And he knew that I didn't have to go to that extreme, but I did it anyway. So that was back in 2013. And it was right after that I was like, wow, I didn't fix any of those issues that I had. And I decided, well, maybe it's time that I start inviting God into this space. And not only in my own personal life, but now I'm going to start coaching through that space as well. And it's been transformative. It's been so life-giving to surrender my body, surrender my eating, surrender my business to him, and to see what he does to transform it. And God is good. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to get more into it, but it's been a tremendous journey, and I'm really excited to be here in this state, in this present moment, and to be with friends like you, Dee. You've been amazing. Your transformation has been amazing. So I'm really glad to be partnered with you in this event.
Oh, thank you. You know what? Your story is very relatable to a lot of women. I am the mom of 3 little girls, and I have one who will be 13 in about a month. So these are things that we're talking about. Your inner worth versus your outer, and all those things that society puts on us women and girls, and it starts very young, because I also have a almost 9-year-old too, and she's part of the conversation. So this is definitely something I'm passionate about because of my girls as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So as a mom, you see it much more clearly. I'm a stepmom. I haven't had the privilege yet. We're going to be trying for that this year, of having my own. But even as my stepdaughters, you want to be that shining light. Where my life verse is Matthew 5:16, that says, "And let your light shine before others, so they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." I think there's no greater gift and no greater calling than to be a mom and to impart on your daughters self-worth that's not defined by things like body and food and, the outside of us. Yeah. Not that those are wrong either. It's not like we're going to say, don't care about how you look. That's certainly not the message here.
Right.
It's just that it shouldn't be first in your life. It shouldn't be, an idol in your life. And you want your light, your good, solid relationship with your own health to be something that your girls can witness through you, and then they can start living in their life as well. Because the attack is going to come, whether we do things perfectly or not. A girl's mind is just going to start thinking thoughts and lies and starting to believe lies based on society or just things in their own mind. So you want to set a precedent of overcoming that and that example. And that's the light that you shine for your daughters and for everyone else.
Yeah, I completely agree, because our children learn from our actions. We can tell them what to do, but when my girls are seeing that I'm taking care of my body, I'm putting good things in my body, I'm working out my body so that it can work and function at its best. I always tell them that the benefit of taking good care of your body is that you are smaller and that you look good, but that is not why you do it. That's just kind of like the reward that you get for doing those things. So
yeah. It needs to be much deeper than that. That's good. Your daughters are very lucky to have you.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about, let's just elephant in the room. You did something awesome today.
I did.
Want to share?
Yeah, I'll show you, actually. It's this. I wrote a book, y'all. I'm an author, Amanda Wright.
Congratulations on that. So amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is kind of a launch week, and that's why we're talking about nutrition together, which I just think it's an important conversation to always have, because I think it's very consuming for a lot of us women. We have grown up in this diet-driven society that's been very cumbersome. Thank you. Is it Shani? Is that how you say your first name? Yeah. Thank you so much. So it's called nutrient-based eating, and it is actually the program that I started, my nutrition program that I started with almost 2 years ago, when I started A.Wright Fit as a fit and faith-based company, or as a faith-based business, because I was tired of dieting. I was tired of, just feeling run down. Because I was in the fitness industry, I was doing what is very common in the fitness industry, which is weighing your food, counting your macronutrients, logging your food, trying to hit certain points. And it wasn't that those practices are bad. They were just exhausting, for doing it for years. It's just very time consuming. And I was in a transition of life where I was going from being single, where, spending time on myself wasn't a big deal, to being married, to being a stepmom, to running a household, to being involved in my husband's business and business travels. And I was like, I can't keep up with this, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have, so if I don't have these things that are like my crutch holds, if I don't have these practices and these rules that I put on myself, what am I left with?
Yep.
And I was forced to figure it out. And I was like, well, what are the things that are most important? What does my plate need to include? And that process of figuring that out and relying on the science minds of Precision Nutrition, who I'm getting certified, my second nutrition certification through them, and Metabolic Effect, which are great companies from doctors that talk about metabolism and educating yourself on that. I came up with a program that's all habit-based formulas. So that's what nutrient-based eating is all about. It's not about rules. It's not about exhaustive practices. It's not about certain foods are good foods, other foods are bad foods. It's really a moderation approach, and it's a habit-based formula that will and has given my clients very lean bodies. I saw all of my clients, 100% of them saw results this last year in my small group coaching that I do. One client, Sarah, I've been talking about her story a lot because she went from a size 12 to a size 6 in like 8 months and didn't count one thing. Yeah. And didn't count one thing, didn't obsess about calories. She was able to eat in moderation, and it was all by taking it like one habit at a time. And that's great. So seeing the physical results is great. But what I've really been excited about seeing in my own life is the food obsession, the worrying about the food, the, having it consume your mind a lot has fallen by the wayside. So it's been like a mindset shift for a lot of women that went from this diet, like good or bad, all or nothing. You have to do it this way. This is what the experts say. I'm going to worry about the little things, to like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. I could still care about it. I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly the one habit goal that I'm working on right now. And I'm going to just focus on consistently implementing that one habit. And then the results start to come. And then they slowly come. It's a little slower, but it's worth it because you don't have that emotional hang up that is often associated with this white knuckling, trying to stick to some diet rule that's usually leads
set up to fail.
Yeah, set up to fail.
Yep.
So like you said, when you're operating from an all or nothing, I'm going to start again on Monday, I was bad today, I'm going to be good tomorrow, all associated with your food. The all or nothing doesn't work. You're usually left with nothing. You're usually left with like, I lost weight. I lost 5 pounds 2 weeks ago. And then I just gained those 5 pounds right back because I couldn't take it anymore. And I went right back to my old habits. So this has been really powerful and really exciting. But I know you and I were talking about like our histories with food and our relationship with food. And you were telling me this morning when we were chatting about your control over your food and how that was a very emotional attachment to you. So I wanted you to say that a little bit more because I think we all relate in different ways, but I really wanted to hear more about that.
I was so excited when I heard that your book is launching now, which just worked perfectly. But for me, I didn't always have a food issue. That was something new. And I'm actually one of those people who I was really skinny growing up. Never had any issues, so I could eat whatever I wanted until I had children. And then I gained large amounts of weight. I had 95 with my first, I gained 85 with my second, and 75 with my third. I know I was not carrying 6 children. I was carrying 1 each time. So it was really hard. As I got older, my metabolism slowed. But there was a time, the last 4.5 years have been up and down for our family. We've had really low points, and we've come back from them. And during those really low points, I suffer from high anxiety, and then it comes with bouts of depression. Mm. That was coming up, and I was using food, some diet things that you're told to do. It's just not work. It's not feasible in a mom life. So what I'm doing now and what I'm working towards, oh, I think we lost you. Hopefully you'll pop back on. What I'm working towards is to have a healthier relationship with food and nutrition and diet. That is what we're working with in this book study with Full. And I just think that food is what fuels us, it's what we need, but it doesn't need to be an idol in our life. And it doesn't need to be put first in front of anything. And I also think it's one of the most accepted drugs in society, in the church, in schools, everywhere. I believe that it is being abused. So,
yeah. Dr. Caroline Leaf is a Christian neuroscientist, and she did I think there was a study, or she at least posted about the study, that was talking about the top 10 addictions. And number one, this is good news. The number one addiction is love. Like, we're addicted to love, right? We are addicted to chasing after love. It really does propel us to do crazy things. And so that's good, because that means we're addicted to God. But the number two addiction in this list was food. Like, before crack cocaine, before all these other things, food is the second strongest addictive substrate. And even just the thinking about food, I believe the thought patterns, like, I know a lot of people that like just think about food all day long. Like, so that's like the only thing they enjoy in their day. And that's, once again, it's not saying that's wrong, but it's just misplaced. It's just not supposed to be our greatest priority. That's called idolatry. And so because we associate food with feelings so easily, we just communicate them subconsciously. It's not intentional, but it's just the nature of kind of our flesh, that we associate celebration with reward of certain types of food, right? Yeah. And then we associate, with certain foods and punishment. And so it's you need God to help you detach from that emotional, like, there's no other way that you can rid yourself of these, not even rid yourself, but conquer these emotions that are so closely tied to food. God is the only thing.
Yes, the emotional void that you feel can only be filled with God.
With God, exactly.
That is what changed and helped me with my journey. Sure.
Yeah. So, so what I've learned, I mean, even from you're saying that you kind of had the anxiety and that relationship with food, and I was trying to find my self-worth through my body, which required me to be very careful about my food. And the more restrictive I was, the more I obsessed about food and dreamt about food and thought about food all day long. And so what nutrient-based eating has done for me is helped me, instead of thinking about restricting something, cutting something out, oh, I need to give up sugar, or I have to give up carbs, and like slashing whole food groups, it has been an adventure to what can I eat? What do I get to eat? What should I add to my plate instead of taking off? And I've set up habits of holistic eating. So holistic foods are those foods that are good for the environment. They're foods that are good for your body. They're foods that are good for your mind, because they're whole, real foods. They're foods that we know God made. They come from the ground or a plant, or they came from a mother. They're kind of those foods that are located on the perimeter of your grocery store, not on a shelf, not in a box as much, although there are some very smart companies that are getting on board with making things less processed with additives and making it in a package, but it's certainly not bad for you. And God bless those companies that are taking that initiative, because we're seeing the effects of overly processed food, fast food. We've seen all those documentaries. We're seeing the epidemic rises of diabetes and obesity and health-related, heart disease, all these things that food contributes to significantly. So holistic eating is really something that's awesome, because you're not thinking about what you're giving up, you're thinking about what you're adding in. So I have all these habits that I have 17 plus habits that I've actually listed out, that we're going to go over into your private group page. So anyone that wants to talk about the specific habits that are in my program, and the phases, there's 5 phases that I go through. We're going to talk about that over in your private page. But just that step of, okay, God, instead of trying to overhaul my whole plate at once, what's one step? What's the next best step that I could add to my eating? Something like, I'm going to add vegetables to every meal. I'm going to add water to every meal. I'm going to ensure I'm getting lean protein sources, either plant-based protein or, animal-based protein, whatever works best for me and my body. I'm going to look for whole food sources, holistic sources. And it's something that gives you momentum because you're doing it. It's like I'm focusing on what I'm doing instead of focusing on what I'm giving up. And that shift is huge, right? Like deprivation is unsustainable. If you feel like you're always lacking in something, which is what diets do, you're never going to want to stick to it. It's going to always feel like I can't wait to be done with this, I can go back to eating that thing that I really miss. So I think that's been the biggest shift of like, no, we're not going to take anything away just yet. We're going to work on portion sizes, sure. And not eating the whole bag, sure. That's moderation and that can be practiced. And that's a habit in and of itself. But we're talking about adding things to our plate more than we're talking about taking it away. And that's been really rewarding. I enjoy giving women something to do as opposed to telling them what not to do. I enjoy telling them, here's some steps you can take, and my habits all laid out. And I do the work for them instead of them wondering like, well, should I cut out, potatoes because I heard potatoes are really bad for you. Those small little things that aren't going to make a big, big difference. I'm like, no, here's the list of things that actually will make a big difference in your life. Things like only eating until you're 80% full. That's something you have to like practice. And studies say it takes up to 63 days for a habit to actually stick. So that's just one thing that you could work on for 2 months. And then that's going to make a significant difference in your eating. So yeah, we can talk more about those, but any other questions that you have? Okay.
Let's go into detail in the private group because actually a couple of things that you brought up, I would love to explore more. Okay. We actually are going to do something a little different. We're going to have like a VIP backstage access. If you guys want to like really talk about this, Amanda's going to go really into detail about her 17 habits, give you a very clear picture.
Yeah.
Of what her book's about. It's not here in about 5 minutes. And where can they get your book from, Amanda?
So right now, if you go to a Bitly account, it's bit.ly/nutrient-based eating. And I will put the link in the comments below this on your site. So they'll just one click over there. And I believe you actually have the special link for yours since we're partnering in this one. So we're going to need your link for them to check it out through that. So that's where they can get more information there.
All right, so you can get more information here.
I think my camera's cutting out a little bit of yours. I don't know if they can hear you or not, but. Okay.